What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today is the first of many breakdowns for TBC, and today we're going to go over a professions guide, mostly focused on min-maxing and how you can get the most out of your professions in TBC and what are the best things you get from each profession. And it does help for you to be able to stockpile if you know which professions you're going to pick. And so it does opt into if you're going to do PvP and PvE slightly, but today we're going to break it down, and I do want to say one thing before we actually hop into it. Well, I guess two things. Feel free to come over and hang out on the Twitch channel because we just hit 10,000 followers on the Twitch channel, which is absolutely insane. We didn't know we could do that in quite a while. And then also, I do talk quite a bit about, not even quite a bit, but a little bit about alchemy. And with certain tuning, I do try to cover all bases, but with certain tuning, we can have some of the alchemy items be BIS, so you will see that in the guide itself. Other than that, let's dive right in. Tonight, we are going to talk about TBC professions, specifically as they pertain to min-maxing. Even though we don't know how things are going to go with leatherworking, obviously with drums, what I think is going to happen, and I think with like a decent amount of confidence, is they're going to add the tinnitus debuff, which means basically if you use drums, it's kind of like a sated debuff, but like everyone that's affected by drums cannot receive another effect of drums for 2 minutes, which means you just need one person with drums per group. This does mean you still do need drums in your groups. One per group, right? The Civil Sable, thank you for the host, man. How's the stream? You do need one per group still, but I believe they're gonna do the tinnitus debuff. I don't think they're gonna do a sated that stops you from doing tinnitus or from doing drums and bloodlust. I think that would be changing the game too much, right? Hashtag some changes is kind of what they're going with right now. And I don't think they're gonna like change the game too much, okay? So we'll see how that goes. So most likely, you're still gonna need at least one person per group with leatherworking. Aren't bosses tuned around using drums all the time? I don't think it's gonna affect much, dude. Like, people were not great at the game back in the day. Endless is overtuned, right? And people don't struggle with like early phases. It's just later phases anyways. So drums is like bosses being tuned to what they say have higher HP. And I think no matter what, it's not gonna be much of a struggle, especially phase or tier 4 and tier 5 are not gonna be much of a struggle at all. There's not really going to be like much of a race to world first, most likely. Most of Karazhan you can blow through. Gruul's Lair, you're not going to see too much issues with. I think it's all going to be pretty good. Yo, thank you, man. I'm having a great stream. I hope you had an incredible stream also. So with that in mind, think about this as you're looking towards your raid comps. You're most likely going to still need one leatherworker per group. So to min-max, originally you needed 4 leatherworkers, right? You're running 20 leatherworkers in your raid, all with drums, or just go shaman. I just want to play a shaman. Yeah, but you might be the leatherworker, right? Another thing, this is a speculation, and we're going to talk about it obviously as we get into all of the professions. So let me move this up. Another thing that we were talking about earlier is they might limit enchanting, but let's actually talk about that right away, right? Enchanting, as we know, or might not know, you get enchanting like your best ring enchants, only ring enchants in the game. You can only enchant yourself if you are enchanting, so you have to level up all of your enchanting every time you get a new BIS piece, and then drop enchanting for whatever your other professions are if you're really min-maxing. And this is probably, I would say, would most likely change, specifically because I think Blizzard wants to add more like quality of life things, which would mean you would either have to choose Enchanting. So you can get an enchant for rings, obviously 12 spell power, so 24 spell power. You can get 40 healing. You can get +4 damage and +8 stats, right? Because each of them are 1, right? So it's like 20 healing, +4 stats, so 8 stats, right? 24 spell power is very powerful. And you're gonna literally, if they don't change this, everyone that's min-maxing is going to have to level Enchanting all the time. Way too sweaty to do till end of tier. There's gonna be a lot of sweaties, right? There's gonna be a lot of sweaties, guys, going into TBC. If you haven't like realized, most people are already talking about how everyone is gonna go Warlock. All of the warriors are now going Warlock. It's probably gonna be a thing. Let's just call it what it is. Warlocks and Hunters are pretty much the kings of TBC. We're probably gonna see a crazy amount of Warlocks, especially in any sort of speedrun guild. And any sort of speedrun guild is 100% min-maxing. So like, yeah, you don't have to get world buffs anymore, but there's quite a few things that are a lot more expensive. Like chain popping pots, things with flasks. If you're ever gonna do like a melee, it's like your haste pot is just going like crazy. Yeah, sweaties can be our gold dump, exactly. So that might be a thing. So if this is a thing, Enchanting will be needed for everyone trying to min-max. Absolutely everyone trying to min-max will have to level Enchanting every time they get their new rings and drop it. This, I foresee, this is just a prediction, and hopefully we'll get more information soon. Blizzard most likely might make it so that you need to have the Enchanting so that you can have the enchant. That's like on live, or like they've done stuff like that. Obviously that's like the Bloodvine sets, or as we talk more about all of the other, let's just go into like the best like profession, most likely kind of the best profession. How's it going, guys? Sorry if I'm ignoring anything, just trying to keep it a little straightforward. But for a lot of classes, the best profession is absolutely going to be tailoring. Like 100% going to be tailoring. Why? Because you need to get your spell strike, your spell fire, and your primal mooncloth gear. Because there's going to be so many casters. This stuff is so good. Primal mooncloth for your healers, this is your bis till like phase 6 for a lot of people. Like these pieces are so strong. The spell strike, the spell fire, have fun being the fire mage, the arcane mage. If things are tuned to the point of bosses dying pretty quickly, arcane mage could be bis, because arcane mage just has so much burst. But in any sort of a longer fight, there's no way they could even compete at all with warlock, right? But that's something that we have to see with the beta. Ellie, yeah, also Ellie. And then enhance will go like blacksmithing, which we'll talk about in a second. But this is, if you're a caster DPS, you are going tailoring. And then once you get to like max level or almost max, you get to choose a different like decision on what type of tailoring you're going. So if we go into professions and you go into like tailoring, you got mooncloth, shadowweed, spellfire, right? It's similar with blacksmithing, where you can choose weaponsmithing, which then brings you up to axesmithing, hammersmithing, swordsmithing. Imagine somebody going axesmithing. That's something that like we'll never talk about. That's just not good. Armorsmithing, there are some pieces that are very useful, but I highly doubt anyone's gonna go there. Some tanks might go with armorsmithing. Is hammersmithing decent? Oh my God, yes. No, we're not going swordsmithing. Everyone that thinks we're going swordsmithing because we are sword rogues in Classic, or sword warriors in Classic, you are wrong. We are going hammersmithing. Hammersmithing is the way. Other than some, PvE warriors will go swordsmithing, specifically for Lionheart Executioner. So at launch, it's actually, the Executioner shouldn't be out at launch because that requires you to get mats from SSC, Tempest Keep, actually. So you're gonna get Lionheart Champion. How blacksmithing works here is when you choose one of these weaponsmithing, mace-smithing, or swordsmith, all of that, you do get one epic item that is incredible, and technically there's a one-hander also that you need to level up. You need to have the base item. So Lionheart Champion, the first one, or Lionheart Champion will be used into moving into Executioner, and the first one you need to make is Lionheart Blade into Primal Nethers and Primal Mites, which we will talk about, of course. And then you will have your Lionheart Champion. This thing is amazing, and it will hold you for quite a while until the sword off of Kel'Thas. So this is gonna hold you for quite a while, and then you're actually going with Lionheart Executioner, and then there's like a comparability there. So melee classes, if you are min-maxing, you are going to level blacksmithing 100 million %. And one thing you need to know is you need to stay with it to use it, right? This is what we were talking about earlier. It's like Primal Mooncloth. You need Mooncloth Tailoring. Requires Mooncloth Tailoring. Spell Strike Hood just requires tailoring. So like pretty nice there, huh? Spellfire Tailoring. That might be like a little buggy thing. But for PvE, this is a really, really absolutely insane option if you're going to go Arms Warrior. If you're going Fury Warrior, technically your BIS is the one-handed maces. But early on in TBC, those maces were actually unique, so you couldn't dual wield them, which is going to be Dragon Maw. Let's pull it up. But later, and I think in 2.4.3, it won't be main hand. So you could dual wield these, which is going to be things like Enhanced Shamans. Enhanced Shamans are absolutely going for this, but also Rogues. Rogues, this is your best item. This is your BIS. This is your BIS. There is nothing better for you in the main hand in the game. Now, there's a weapon in Karazhan that comes close, and then also Blink Strike comes close. Blink Strike, the BOE item, which if you find a Blink Strike, I'm just gonna say it right now, sell it. Sell it. Don't be the guy that uses Blink Strike. It's gonna go for an insane amount of gold, right? It's gonna be so much. Make all your gold off Blink Strike, guys. But Rogues want Dragon Maw. Of course you want Dragon Strike, but you can't make that yet, right? We need the Nether Vortexes. Nether Vortexes, again, Lady Vosh, Kel'Thas Sunstrider, and pretty much everything in there. So, Dragon Maw. Rogues, Fury Warriors, if you're gonna have a Fury Warrior, because you could actually out DPS quite a few people as a Fury Warrior. I know they get memed on quite often, but if you know what you're doing and you're good, you could actually be a really good DPS. But the reason why Fury Warrior is rarely brought in TBC, min-maxing, is because they don't give a debuff, or they don't buff the raid, basically by debuffing the boss. So you probably won't see many Fury Warriors. Okay. But Rogues, this is going to be your best weapon. There's nothing else that is as good. The Gladiator's Slicer from Season 1 is a comparable weapon. It is definitely comparable, but you can't get it like that fast. So min-maxers are going with this, right? Min-maxers are going with this. Dual wield them? Nope. You're going to get a better offhand. Offhand's from like Black Morass. Yeah. If you're going Fury Warrior, I don't know. If you're getting a raid slot, yeah. This is Lytros Shifting Blade. Yep, there we go. So, if you are a rogue, if you are an enhanced shaman, then you're dual wielding. If you are going Fury Warrior, like the memer you want, you are using this. But the big reason a lot of people are going to be very excited about Mace smithing, or mace specialization, of course, is Stun Herald, which will be made from Doom Thunder. So let's just look at it, because it's, of course, this is the 3rd level of the item. It won't be out in the game right away, but this thing is insane. An internal stun, as well as stun from mace specialization for a lot of people. Early on, it's going to be Deep Thunder, right? People are going to be trying to make Deep Thunder as fast as possible, which means a lot of Primal Nethers. So your Primals, your Primal Nethers, your Primal Mites, going to be an easy gold farm. Yeah, wins by RNG, quite literally wins by RNG. Absolute PvP, god weapon. Enhanced Shamans, we'll see how strong you are in PvP, but Warriors, you're Warriors. You're going to want these, right? Deep Thunder is insane in PvP. Also, like your Ret Pallies that are getting memed on all of Classic. What if you go this in PvP and get a stun? Shaman Ret Pally is a crazy 2s team. It's slept on super hard, but just 1 proc and you 1-shot. Literally the top team right now on Endless is Shaman Ret Pally. And there's like the number 4 team is Shaman Ret Pally. Very strong. Okay? Spin to win. Get the stun proc. You're doing real well, guys. Do the stuns DR each other? I do not believe so. I think they're separate. But someone can confirm or deny for me. I am not 100% sure on that. So that's Blacksmithing. They do, but it's still OP. Thank you very much, GD, our boy. All right. So if you're melee and you're min-maxing, you're going Blacksmithing. If you are a caster and you're min-maxing, you're going Tailoring. If you're a caster and you're playing PvE at all, you're going Tailoring no matter what. Melee could potentially get away with not doing Blacksmithing and Weaponsmithing, potentially because there's things that like compete, but then you're not min-maxing. And that's not really what we do on the channel, right? And that's not really what we're focused on. Enchanting, you may have to level multiple times. Leatherworking, like we talked about, most likely 1 person per group will need to have leatherworking. All right. What else about leatherworking? The Primal Strike gear. Pretty good gear. Very solid gear. If people are going to make an argument that you need to go Primal Strike gear, right? This is your pre-raid BIS. You're going to replace it so fast. I would not worry so much about getting the Primal Strike gear if you're going leatherworking. If you are the rogue, though, you might kind of have to go leatherworking to get the drums, which in that case, absolutely make your Primal Strike gear. But if you're not the rogue in your raid, or if you're not, and also ferals, really nice for ferals. Are jewel crafting trinkets in for TBC? We will get to that. We will get to that. Did I go over warlocks and hunters for the meta andes? We did. We did talk about that. All right. If you're a rogue, I wouldn't really worry about it. Feral, I'm not 100% sure if this is actually your BIS throughout the. I think you get better in phase 4 or tier 4 stuff. So I wouldn't be too stressed about it. The real reason you go leatherworking is generally for drums, for everyone. We're gonna replace so much gear so quickly. So worrying too much about your pre-raid BIS in phase 4 is going to be interesting because, or tier 4, because at launch, tier 4 is not that hard. Karazhan's not that hard. Although, and if you're a rogue, you don't have much competition for gear. Let's just call it what it is. You are the rogue in the raid. Maybe you have a feral. Maybe. If your guild is min-maxing, I would anticipate you have a feral for tanking. If your guild is going for like world record speeds, you'll probably have a feral and a prop pally. Those are the things. Okay. Engineering. 2 rogues in my group. Oh my God, Sag. Engineering. Currently, engineering is necessary for basically everyone. If you're in a speedrun guild and you're not running engineering, you are hard griefing. Because it is the best, not even arguably, it is just hands down the best profession of all of Classic. Now, we don't know if the goggles will be in the game on launch. If they are, engineering is going to be very strong for a few reasons. One, these goggles are insanely powerful. For your leather, for pretty much every class, engineering goggles are really good. Engineering is really good for battlegrounds, like crazy good for battlegrounds. Anyone will tell you, like, if you're PvPing BGs, you definitely want engineering. But like, who's worried about BGs in TBC? Not to diminish that, but you can't use engineering items other than like goggles in the arena. But there are a few things that you could do. There's sappers still with engineering that could add extra AoE damage. Not nearly as necessary as they were back in Classic, but they are good. And these are not the max level goggles, okay? The other ones won't be in the game. I don't think goggles will be in the game, which means, is engineering necessary? Most likely no, but again, we will have to see. So I'm trying to cover all bases so you guys can know if we get that with the beta, we'll see. But just kind of start now. Prot Warriors will love engineering. Yes, Prot Warriors will love engineering for all of the explosives for AoE threat. Prot Paladins can actually love engineering. Now, why is that? Because your taunt is Regis Defense. You're taunting off of a friendly target, right? So if you're taunting off of a friendly target, what you can do is throw down a target dummy and taunt off of it. Just make a macro. Pretty nice. So there's some cheesy things you can do. Another thing you can do with goggles, of course, is farm all of the gas clouds. So gas clouds, engineering becomes a farming profession, right? So you can go and farm gas clouds, fly around, have fun, farm a bunch of gas clouds. But I will pose this caveat, guys. Let me just say this really fast before we say anything else. And this is why I haven't talked about the gathering professions. There is a level boost in TBC confirmed. Bots are going to be crazy. So farming professions are incredible for making gold, but unless Blizzard does something, I would guess that bots are going to be crazy. So it's going to be pretty hard after really early release to farm things so well. Primals will be farmed. Moats will be farmed. There's going to be just an insane amount of bots like there is now. A lot of times you can almost never find Black Lotus. Recently, there was a ban wave. You can farm Black Lotus for a while, and then you can't again, right? Bots are going to take over TBC because they can just boost up to 58, make a druid, and then they can just fly around. Druids are obviously the kings of farming, right? Because you can just stay in flight form. Go around, herb, chill, have a good time. As a main druid, I find it real hard to give up herbing. Mainly because I want to have alchemy. Oh, because you have alchemy. Yeah. Easy bots boosts. I don't know how Blizzard deals with that. Blizzard's going to make a lot of money off of it. There's not much we can do, guys, unfortunately. Okay. So, what are some of the professions we haven't talked about? Alchemy, jewel crafting. Those are the two that are really left. We'll leave jewel crafting for the last one because that's the new one. That's the exciting one. Is it? We'll find out. So far, the only thing that you really need to do as a secondary is consistently, if you're min-maxing, level up Enchanting. If you're a melee, you need to level up Blacksmithing. If you're a caster, you need to level up Tailoring. Engineering is useful. It has its uses, especially for tanks and if goggles are in. Goggles were not in at TBC launch, but I think they probably will be in. At least a level of goggle. Alchemy. Who wants to make a ton of gold? If Primal Mites are not BOE, or are not BOP at launch, which I don't think they will be, then this is going to make you a ton of gold. Also, Alchemy now has this beautiful thing where you get elixir, where you can become specifically like focused on elixirs, potions, so potion master, elixir master, or transmutation master. This gives you the option of when you do these things, like make your transmute, you can get 1 to 5, just randomly. You can get the proc. You can also do that with flasks. So you have to choose. I would hold off on choosing right at the gate because you want to see what's going to make you the most money. But Alchemy could make you a ton of gold. What can Alchemy do for you that is BIS if you are min-maxing? Nothing. Nothing, boys. What do you get that's unique? You get alchemist stones. And these things are not BIS. They are good trinkets, but they are not BIS. So if you're min-maxing, your character most likely is not an alchemist. Let's just say what it is. They're not hard BIS. The healing one, very strong. The healing one is BIS, and that's the only one. So I take it fully back. Whoop. Healers can go alchemy. If we have mana issues. It depends on how fast the bosses die. It depends on how fast the bosses die. And that's just a fact that we don't know yet. We're saying we have higher health pools, so if bosses are really long, this will be really nice. We're gonna find out on the beta. But if bosses seem to die fast, Alchemy's not gonna be too big for anyone. Healers can go it. Which is nice then, because healers can actually make a ton of gold. Alchemy could make a ton of gold. Really great way to make gold. And your transmutes are amazing. Making flasks, amazing. Will it be worth it to go mining with blacksmithing, for example, or do you think it would be better just to buy bars and replace mining? I think if you haven't started buying all of the materials to level up your blacksmithing, do it ASAP before they shoot up. You can get very, very high. You can obviously get 300, but you can get it all done ASAP. Will mining be useful? It is a really good farm, but depending on populations, they actually said that there's not going to be double node spawns on like different layers. So farming is going to be Alchemy for rogues. Not for min-maxing. You don't really need to worry about it. If you're min-maxing as a rogue, I would, unless the goggles are in, and if they limit you to enchanting, right? If they don't let you enchant and break it, you're going to be blacksmithing, weaponsmithing, and then enchanting. Leatherwork and jewel crafting will be very strong. Here's a question. All right, let's get into jewel crafting. All right, the last one. What do jewel crafters get that's unique? They get unique gems that are stronger than anything else you can get. Some nice little red gems. Some nice little gems that are amazing. Weaponsmith. Rogues need weaponsmith if you're min-maxing. But here's the thing that I hope isn't... Oh, this is the wrong one. All right. If figurines are in the game, these will be amazing. Here, let me pull it up. So, let me see if this is a original version. This could be amazing. Night-Eye Panther figurine. And it should, I believe, be in the game. But I don't think they'll be in, like, it might not be in at launch. These are not the epic ones, right? This one you get from Zanger Marsh Revered to learn how to make it. Increases your effective stealth level by 1, 54 attack power, and 320 attack power proc. For reference, other, like, there's better trinkets. You can use Dragonfly Trophy. Everyone's going to fight. Half of the shit is 2.4 that you're showing, which they said is last phase. They said 2.4.3. They said 2.4.3. So yeah, you're going to go Mace. You're going to go Mace main hand, Latros offhand. Yeah. They're starting with 2.4.3. It was confirmed. But they haven't confirmed everything, right? So it depends on things being in the game, like goggles, like the figurines being in the game, which will be pretty huge. There's also a figurine you can summon as a paladin and taunt off of also, which is very nice as well. So the biggest things, or the biggest things we don't know about, are mainly the enchants. And there's going to be, we're going to find out as we get closer, as we get the beta, exactly what's in the game. But 2.4.3 itemization will be in the game, which means a lot of your, like, bis from Nax that could have been really strong early on in the game will be replaced in Karazhan. Yeah, 2.4.3 straight state, like, so itemization. So we're still depending on to see what is exactly what exactly to do. So if you want to min-max a rogue per se, right? Because we obviously play rogue, you would, for your pre-raid bis, do leatherworking as well as the blacksmithing, and then eventually replace your leatherworking gear and get your stats. Yeah, there's still a few items that are insane still. There's absolutely still a few items that are definitely insane. Like Scarab Brooch. Phylactery is very strong. Other things like that. But we're going to replace things a lot quicker because of the itemization. Items from Karazhan get buffed significantly in 2.4.3. So that is going to be, like, the biggest takeaway, right? If you're going to min-max and they don't limit enchanting or change enchanting, you absolutely will have to level enchanting multiple times. You're going to need still a leatherworker in your group 98% of the time, right? You're still going to need drums. Someone earlier today posed that they thought they thought they were going to make drums just personal, but that means everyone still has to level up leatherworking. So that scuffs everything.